Now, let's get stuck into the preview and predictions of one of the biggest games in the Premier League, Arsenal versus Man United at the Emirates. And in the interest of balance, we're going to allow a spokesperson from the opposition to the show today. So I'm delighted to welcome Arsenal Vision podcaster and Inside Gooners panellist Clive Palmer to the show. Clive, thanks for joining us, mate. It's going to be a massive game at the Emirates. Arsenal are flying right now. United have a new manager bounce. Is this set up to be a classic?
Yeah, they're normally good games, aren't they? I mean, Manchester United, no matter where they are in the world, no matter what state they're in, when they come to Arsenal, they wear their best clothes and put their best performance in. They never turn up without being focused for it. And they don't always win, but the attitude is normally pretty good. So it's going to be a tight game, but I'm looking forward to it.
But that's just it, Clive. I'm not going to lie, mate. I hate this game because we haven't won at the Emirates in absolutely ages. And we, you know, some of the games are a bit closer than others, but we really do struggle. I mean, on your team, Arsenal, Clive, how impressive you've been with them in the last sort of three or four games? You know, Odegaard back in there, the goals are flying in, and just how much pressure is on Arsenal to win this game, considering, you know, the gap between yourselves and Liverpool, and you want to remain in this title race.
Yeah, there is pressure, and we all know that another slip would probably be broken cannons all over the back pages of newspapers, and so we know that's coming. I think it's an interesting time to play Manchester United. They've just found a little bit of confidence with quite a big, home win, and they haven't had a home win at that size for quite a while. I see some real parallels between Arsenal and Manchester United, actually, because I don't see two other teams that get their systems and set pieces analysed more than Manchester United and Arsenal. I think the whole country's become a back three expert. All of a sudden, every article is about Manchester United's system. And Arsenal, as soon as we, go anywhere near a corner, everyone's trying to analyse that. So I feel a bit of sympathy. I don't see the same analysis for Liverpool, shall we say, but I'm going to say no more than that. and so, yeah, I find them very interesting. I think I went to Sporting last week, actually. So I got to see Amorim's system live and direct and what we did to it. And I think he made a point about not having enough athletes in the team. That's a really good point. And when you play a back three, you look for two things, right? You look for comfort in build-up. Normally, most teams have a front two, and you build up in a three. Manchester United got a very good goalkeeper with his feet, so you can see what could happen there. And you look for defenders that can manage space. I'm not sure Manchester United have defenders that manage space. And on build-up, I still think it's a work in progress. And what Arsenal did very cutely last week, they pressed in a 4-2-4, had four narrow, and they said to that three, do you want to play through us? And Sporting didn't, and I'm not sure Manchester United can. So I do see a very aggressive pressing game, particularly in the early phases. And Manchester United can play through. They have got the talent and the pace in the top end of the pitch to really turn us around. So watch that first 20 minutes. I think it could be really hot.
Yeah,
very hot.
Absolutely agree with you there, Clive. I mean, Crookie, from our perspective, this is a huge test very early on for Ruben Amorim and these Man United players in this new system, in this new idea. Are we going to find out just exactly how well they are taking to the new system and new instructions, given it's against, a top team in Arsenal?
It's a massive step up, isn't it? Ipswich, for me, probably are going to go down. Everton are absolutely dreadful. Bodo Klimt actually caused us some real problems in that European game at times. So United are going to have to raise themselves to a level that we probably haven't seen this season. I'm worried there by the fact that Arsenal found it so easy to play against Amorim's system in Lisbon.
But Amorim wasn't there.
That into account.
He wasn't there himself.
No, he wasn't. he wasn't. I think that's why I airbrushed it out of history. But I was at the Emirates, actually, when Amorim did a job on Arsenal in the Europa League and knocked them out of that competition with Sporting. So that gives me a little bit of confidence. But like you, this is a fixture that I don't particularly enjoy anymore. Our record at the Emirates is poor, to say the least. My missus is a massive Arsenal fan, so it's always a quiet 48 hours before and after the game. And, of course, we pulled them out of the hat in a really difficult FA Cup draw as well. If you offered me a point now, and if you offered Ruben Amorim a point now, I think we both bite your hand off.
Absolutely. And I don't want to sound defeatist or trying to take the pressure off, but I think we were so early in our development, and this is ideally, if you're being honest, this is probably a game that's probably a bit beyond us this early. But we've got some confidence going into it. We're third in the form table currently, which is not bad.
Yeah.
What do you want to see us go toe-to-toe with Arsenal in the image of what the manager wants us to be? Or would you rather see us adapt, be a little bit more pragmatic, feel our way into the game and show glimpses? Or do you want us to just be defensive and make sure we don't get humiliated?
I think probably the middle one there. I think you want to see a bit of pragmatism. I think that the overall thing is you just want to walk away with something positive and convincing. I agree. I would take a point. I think it's frustrating that we don't have Lisandro Martinez. We don't have Kobbie Mainoo. You know, that left of the three centre-backs, I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, Luke Shaw, I think, has played 98 minutes of football so far.
And he's going to have to play, yes.
As good as Luke Shaw is on his day, you know, he's not 100% probably at fitness that we would like. You know, watching the Everton game, I saw, you know, Ashley Young be able to sprint past Diogo Dalot. You know, if that's what we're bringing to the table, then, you know, the likes of Saka and Odegaard and things, that really, you know, it does concern me. I think one of the things, if I'm grasping at straws, is that some of the fixtures at the Emirates recently, it's been because of last-minute goals.
Yeah.
It's not like we've been, and maybe people can argue this, but I don't think it's that we've been completely outplayed off the pitch. I think it's a case of, you know, lapses in concentration and things. So I would like to think Amorim has done his homework, and I think it's about having that focus and being able to adapt in that this is Arsenal. They are a very good side. You look at the amount of goal scorers they've got. They come from all angles. It's not just Saka and Odegaard. So I think we have to be aware of that and we have to adapt accordingly. And I think it'd be interesting. I don't know is this a game for somebody, you know, I know we've spoken about Xerxes. Me personally, do we need a bit more pace? Is this a game for somebody like Garnacho? I think the main thing, though, as we spoke about with the Everton game, Abad Diallo has made himself undroppable, in my opinion. Yeah. So that's somebody that we need to see. You'd like to see Ugarte in that game, perhaps. But I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one. But we cannot have that mistake. I think the concentration is going to have to be at a completely different level.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of stats for you guys here. Arsenal have won the last 3 Premier League meetings against United, and they've never won 4 in a row, so there's one to keep an eye on. Arsenal have won just 2 of their 17 Premier League evening kickoffs against Man United. Okay. And it's an 8:15, I think, extra time added on. So they don't like playing late at night, Clive, so they want to get to bed early.
Well, so, I think you could be clutching there a little bit, my friend. I think
we've got to hold on to anything we can, Clive, anything. Yeah. Man United have won 6 of their last 7 midweek Premier League games as well, so we're used to winning in the evening in midweek in the Premier League, Clive. I do want to ask you this, though, Clive. As a United fan, when I look at Arsenal, do I want to say the word petrified? I just have to be honest. I am really worried concerned
there we go.
about Arsenal's right-hand side and our left-hand side. Our left-hand side has struggled. Diogo Dalot has really struggled to acclimatise at left wing-back. Left centre-back between Luke Shaw and Martinez, they're trying to work out what's going on there, and now Martinez isn't going to play. And I look at Arsenal's right-hand side with Timber, and then the right 6 of either Partey or Jorginho, doesn't matter which one. Yep. Odegaard in that pocket of space, in that inside half space. And then the big man Saka. That frightens me. It frightens me. It really does. With Arsenal, your threats are all across the pitch. But is it fair to say that is your strongest side or your biggest strength away from the set pieces?
It is, and we do attack, we call it same side. We do work that side really hard. I mean, particularly in the first 70 minutes of the game when Saka's fresh, we do work him and get Odegaard into play, for example. I think Timber's offered something else. I think Ben White's a strong defender. He's a passing defender, so it's give and go, and he can go. But Timber can give and go, but Timber can also dribble. So when he gets the ball to feet, he looks like a midfielder as well. He looks like a winger. So he's got many layers to his game. So he's very interesting whether he plays right or left back. I think Havertz tends to step in and facilitate when someone moves out of their spots, and he offers an option to go a little bit longer and go over a press. So he's very important to us. And on the left-hand side, we'll probably have Martinelli on the day, probably standing on your outside centre-back, probably Maswari, I think, on the right-hand side. Mm-hmm. And he's a good full-back defender, but Martinelli can run him, and the threat of that speed will hold him back. And I think we'll own the territory, and it'd be interesting to see what happens, because you guys know better than me, but I think he made 5 or 6 changes on manager at the weekend, and then he made 4 or 5 substitutes. That means he's in the period of discovery. He's looking at your team, he's looking at your players and where they play. So I'm not going to predict what the team's going to be. You know, I do think Rasmus will play, and I do think Rashford will play, because you've got to play Rashford at the Emirates because he likes the air down there, right? So you've got to play him. Yeah, don't worry. I was there.
Saka will probably be doing it and all.
Yeah. I remember the final score.
Exactly.
And so I do think he's in a period of discovery. I think that's important. I mean, I'm not going to say we're going to win because it's Manchester United, but if you guys don't win, I think you've got to learn something about your team. I think that's the most important thing at this period of time where you are in your development. You've got a January window coming up. You need to find stuff out now. You know, it may be 3 points. It may not be, but you need to discover this now. And I think it's really important. And we've been here. People laugh when we bought a bunch of 21-year-olds, but look at our squad value increase now. It's the largest in the world. You know, so we've been here, and with your owners, don't think they're not looking at the spreadsheets. They're looking at those numbers.
Arsenal must win this game. If they have any aspirations for winning the league or staying in the league race, they can't draw. They certainly can't lose. I think all the pressure is on Arsenal. Yeah. I think Manchester United, 4 games into a new manager at a place they historically do not travel well to, I think all the pressure is on them. Of course, we want to give a good account of ourselves, and it's not good enough to go there and get beat 4 or 5-0 and sent packing. That's not acceptable. But I think it's less acceptable for Arsenal to not get a win at home against this Man United side with where they are. I would definitely say that, from my opinion. Crookie, for you, don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. I don't want to lure you into anything,
Go on.
But I'm just going to ask you, we are 6 points behind Arsenal. If we did win, 3 points behind, is it inconceivable to think that all of a sudden we could finish above Arsenal? We could get top 3, we could get top 4, or is that too early?
I think it's too early. I agree that this is a fact-finding mission at the moment for Ruben Amorim. I think he was asked the same question, wasn't he? Is it appropriate for the mighty Manchester United to not be being talked about as top 4 contenders? And I don't think many people are putting us in the top 4 bracket at this moment in time. I think what we're looking for here is a positive performance, the ability to go toe-to-toe or as close to it with a very good Arsenal team, second best team in the league for the last 2 seasons. I think we'll score, by the way. I think if you look at Arsenal defensively, they've not kept too many clean sheets of late. Both teams tend to score in a lot of their matches, and I think United have the weapons to hurt them. I think it's the other end that is a concern for the reasons you've already mentioned. One player we've not thrown in there yet, and he is going to travel, we know that because Amorim told us yesterday, is Lenny Yoro. And you look at the way that he's picked the team so far since he came in, he has sprung a surprise, hasn't he? Anthony playing as a wing-back in Europe in midweek, Xerxes coming in at the weekend. I heard Ali McCoyston and Jeff Stelling saying it'd be ridiculous to throw Yoro in to this type of game against this type of opposition.
It? I mean, not played against
stranger things have happened.
Away at the Emirates here, our son have that, but then we saw, I suppose stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
sink or swim time for him. Why not chuck him in against the elite in the Premier League and see how he gets on?
I agree, because as well, like I touched on when Amorim has spoken, he said, doesn't take me long to figure out a player. And I think that the way that it sounds like Yoro has been training, he's been keeping a close eye on this guy. He already knows what he's about from the way that he's speaking about him. So again, if you're bringing in a big player for big money, who Real Madrid were apparently chasing after, then, what better occasion to put someone out there?
Wow, okay. Crookie, actually, before I come to Clive, would you be shocked if we won?
Yeah, probably. But it wouldn't be the biggest upset in history. We see upsets week in, week out in the Premier League. Who thought Tottenham would go to Man City and win by 4-0? Yeah. Who thought Nottingham Forest would be the only team to win at Anfield? So, is the gap between United and Arsenal as big as it was between Liverpool and Forest on that afternoon? I'd say it probably isn't. So, yeah, let's see. I agree with what you're saying. All the pressure.
I think Clive would beg to differ with that.
No.
Well, this is a free hit. It's a free hit.
It is a free hit. I agree with that.
It is a free hit.
It is a free hit. Clive, for you,
and I think we're capable.
Go on, Crookie. You think we're capable?
I think we're capable of going there and giving a really good account of ourselves, and let's see what happens.
Let's lock in the predictions. The talk is done. Let's put our money where our mouths are. Angelina, prediction.
I'm going to be so basic here. I am just going to... I can't ever sit here and predict a loss. In fact, I don't know if I've already done that, so I'm definitely not going to do it anyway. I think a 1-1 would be great.
Crookie?
2-1 to Arsenal.
Clive, surely you're going to go with an Arsenal win, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those arrogant Arsenal fans that everyone loves.
There's none of them.
But I do think, you know a few.
Just a couple.
So, yeah, I do think we win by 2 clear goals. I'm looking at 3-1. I agree, Crookie, we might concede 1, but I think we'll score 3 at least. So that's what I'm hoping for. 3-1 will make sorts of sense.
Yeah, the football side of everything, of the way we break this down, says it will probably be what Clive's saying. However, Manchester United 2, Arsenal 2. Guys, thank you for joining us. That's all we've got time for on this week's Inside Devils. A big thank you to Alex Crook, Angelina Kelly, Carl Anker, Ryan Scott Douglas, and of course, Clive Palmer for their insights. And we'll see you, hopefully, with a win at the Emirates. How good would that be? Take care, guys.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.